Welcome back, guys. It's Jason with your Hopium free crypto and economic market cycles channel, taking you all the way through to the peak of the major traditional markets later in the 2020s. But for now, it's Cardano. Cardano is starting to move. We've got it pumping to our resistance levels. Remember what we were looking at in the past videos of last week. So in this video, we're going to look at the updates of the price levels. Is this a buy the rumor, sell the news event for ADA? And of course, look at some other Cardano projects which are also on the move due to this news. I got some good funny stuff from our old mate, Charles Hoskinson. All right, make sure you've smashed the likes. You guys are getting into the rhythm. You're hitting it, getting to around 10% likes. Let's do it. Let's go to 12%. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Bell notification icon so you can see my gorgeous titles come through to your mobile phones. Let's dive in. All right, so the total market cap's 2.13 trillion. Remember our target here, we want to get to that 2.17 trillion. Point being, we want to see some strength come back into the market, consolidate before the market can head higher. Otherwise, everything underneath these levels is pretty much choppy, churny noise, getting us in, getting us out. And that's just part of this stage of the market, which potentially is longer accumulation. This could fall for many, many more months. So that's why it's really important to understand the news, know what's coming out, and not respond to it in a FOMO sense. Remember, we looked at this just a month and a half ago when the Sunday swap news came out in early December. I'll show you that on the charts as well. This thing jumped and then absolutely dumped from that point. And I know there was a lot of people saying, well, the whole market dumped. It's the timing. It's the timing of the news events. This always happens. And if you keep getting sucked into it, we're going to keep losing. You're not going to make it if you get sucked into the news. That's my rant. ADA, $1.57. Our price level was $1.64. Now, before I get into all of those price levels, quick reminder, top of the video description, you have Patreon down there where you guys are learning more about investing full-time, trading full-time, and knowing how to do this by following my altcoin portfolio. Top of the description for Patreon. And this week, there is our free newsletter coming out as well. So if you're not ready for that, check out the free newsletter. Link is in the top of the description. Drop your name, email address. We're looking at crypto, stock market, and the real estate cycle as well. Looking to peak later in the 2020s, later this decade. Bitcoin, something we need to follow up. Obviously, the strength and the weakness of the major king here is going to affect what happens in the rest of the market. Bitcoin, the level that we have been watching is, of course, 46K. Jumped up a little bit from 45,500 to now 46 because we have a low in. But if this low moves, then this 50% level right here will move as well. Low at 39,650 to the peak here at 44,450. That comes out at 42,000. So Bitcoin needs to keep holding this line, needs to hold the line at 42,000. So 42K short term is where we're looking. And yes, it's pretty much every single level from this point. We've got to look at how it responds to it. 42K hold, then we got to retest around that 44K, which is where this high is. And the main one that we want to see overcome is 46K. So the big news that everyone is betting their life savings on is the Cardano Sunday swap DEX catalyst. The date, as we have here from Sunday swap themselves, January 20th, that's Thursday, that's Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you understand what time that is in your time zone. Probably going to be somewhere around Friday for us here in Australia and Thursday for the majority of other people watching. So check that out. And of course, let's see how the price responds, because we've already seen the price get rejected from our 50% level leading into this news announcement, which is about 2.5 days away. So what they've got here is Sunday Swap will launch as a fully functional beta decentralized exchange, DEX. The project's developers confirmed in a blog post on Sunday, projects will be allowed to create trading tools for their tokens after Tuesday, the team said. So it's starting very, very soon. Now, this is rant number 2, and it's talking about the Hopium pumped out there for Cardano. There's plenty of channels and staking pools which give you all of the good news, give that warm, fuzzy feeling inside so that you feel good about your investment and you go and stake with them. I'm not going to give you that, so it's going to come down to you. Do you want to support the channel? And if so, check out the link down below for the Investor Accelerator staking pool. stake your Cardano with the staking pool. The last few epochs have done extremely well. You can see all of the data over there. It is pumping out really nicely for the ADA holders there. And I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff on this channel, which many of you guys already know. The other 30%, make sure you hit subscribe. With that said, this is Charles's tweet, and I'm also not going to give Charles the hopium either. Charles says, just getting started. Lark, thanks very much. Cardano just getting started. What are you on about, mate? This has been around for years. This has been around for absolute years, and many projects have already gotten started and pushed further ahead. This is part of our investments. If they take too long, then we got to look elsewhere as well, which is what a lot of investors have been doing. But we're here. Cardano may work this thing out and get going sooner, which is why we look at the charts and the price, support, and resistance levels to see what the smart money is doing. With that in mind, let's take a look at this one last poll that I got on my Twitter, and then we'll get over into the charts. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think? Is Sunday swap launch on Cardano going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event? Meaning, do you sell ADA before the pump of the Sunday swap DEX coming out on Thursday? Let us know in the comments. Yes, sell ADA. No, ADA will moon. It's almost a dead 50-50. This has only been up for 35 minutes, as you can see. Let us know in the comments down below. Follow us on the official links to Instagram and Twitter. Don't get scammed out there. Don't start talking to people in comments. Now, over to the big one, and this is the charts. So, ADA clearly has been pumping the last 2 days. The last 2 days here, we had some good moves to the upside. You saw the video from last week. This is the downtrend, and ADA, what did it do? It pumped dead on to the downtrend. So if it can't overcome this, I think with this good news, hold above the 50%. And remember, our critical number was at $1.64 using this particular chart, ADA USD on Binance, because this is where the data is, $1.64. We need to close, at least a close above that, ideally 3 closes. On this news, on the back of this news, before the launch, or around the launch, then I think we'll probably retreat again. Now, the level that it needs to hold then is $1.07 in order to continue just a sideways accumulation without the weakness stepping back in and breaking these lows further down. The good news is this bar here on the 4th of December, that was the crash bar that pretty much the rest of the market crashed as well. That high is $1.58. ADA yesterday closed at $1.60, so it closed just above that bar. It basically got rid of all of the downside pressure from the investors on that day. A lot of people selling out fearfully as the market went sideways and further down, just slightly. So this could be the beginning of something good for ADA. This move up has been pretty strong. You know, we looked at this in the previous video. I'll leave links to this at the end of this video, so stick around to the end of it and you can see what we're talking about. These ranges are what need to be overcome in order for the market to push higher. And so we've just overcome that. That just means that you've got money buying at these lows and pushing the price to this extreme. So that's as much as the market could push the price of ADA at one point in time. So you're basically getting out there, giving it all you got. Everyone's giving it all they got, and they could move the price from $1.20 to $1.60. So if the market can do that again or more, then you would have to assume that there is a little more energy in the market, depending on how far it pushes compared to the previous time. So at the moment, we've pushed further on volume. We do need to see the market at least close above the 50%, which is at $1.60. You can see 159, let's call it $1.60, and ideally above this trend line and above $1.64. So we're only a few cents away at this point, call it around 8 cents. Get that close, and we're looking much, much healthier than what we have done over the last 5 or so months since the peak in September. As for the Sunday swap announcement back in December, I said I would look at that. This was the news piece. The market is basically back into that bar. So that was a month and a half ago that we had the news of Sunday swap coming on, getting ready to launch, news and the dump and the next dump. And if you thought that this was just the whole market was dumping, well, look at the rest of the market. It continued down. If the market was actually strong from that news, it should have pushed higher, even though the market was scared. It should have moved higher in those following days, but it didn't. We had a sideways and down. We had a weak pump, got rejected at 50%. Good news from that point is that we only fell a little further, just took out the lows, closed above the lows, which is just part of tape reading. It looks much healthier. And then we got the reversal and a pump back to the 50% level. So this is really taking on ADA at this point in time, around the $1.60 level. Now to ADA BTC, the levels haven't changed, but we have overcome them. So from the last video, we were sitting around the 29 to 3,000 Satoshis. The last few days, ADA has overcome the 50% level and the major downtrend level here. You can see in the blue line. So this is just connected to the highs. We've overcome that. Good volume. We'll probably peter out at this point, but it looks like ADA BTC is finally getting ready to at least accumulate at higher levels, put in higher lows. Now, of course, I can be wrong, and that's if the market continues to retreat and fall back underneath the 2,500 Satoshi level. Same deal goes for ADA ETH. It has also pushed above some resistance levels. This pink bar is where the Sunday swap news came out, so it's actually doing a lot better than Ethereum at this point. It's moving higher. Good volumes come out, and we've just managed to break some of the previous tops here that came out in November. The major level here, which we've talked about a few times, make sure you've hit the like button and subscribe so that you get this content come through to your newsfeed if you're interested in learning about where possible resistance levels are, meaning maybe where you'd want to sell some ADA. I'm not saying sell all of it, but if you want to take some profits at some point along the lines, check out the 50% level, and that's sitting at around 0.0006. That's doubled over because there are a couple of 50% levels there, which means it's even more resistance because there's quite a few price clusters at this point. So 0.0006 of an ETH. Check the price of ADA when we get to those levels. Next, let's check out a few of the projects which have moved on the back of this news. Before I do, just a quick reminder, Patreon is in the top of the description down below. Annual payments get you 2 months for free, so check this out down below. And of course, the newsletter is coming out this week, so make sure you got your details down there as well. It's absolutely free. Go and check the links out down below. So the first one is COTI, and we were looking at this back in November when everyone else was asking about it. What's going on with COTI? Should I be buying COTI? Is this a great time to invest in COTI? All those same sort of questions which many new and amateur investors ask when the market is at its highs and it looks like it's failing to push any further. You can see the moves up, then the pull back, and then the next move is so weak, like we just talked about when we're looking at ADA USD. This is what I left on the chart. Sure, we could move higher because no one wants to hear bad news when the market is at all-time highs, even though maybe you should take some profits off the table. No one wants to hear that. So I have to give both options, right? Just to make people feel a little bit better about their investments, which they're potentially buying at all-time highs. The point here is don't be a sucker. Don't be a sucker for all-time highs and continuing to believe that they're going to go up forever. COTI, this is what I had on the chart at the time. Sure, we could go sideways, and what you would want to see, because it could go higher, is the market consolidate and then break back above the high levels, consolidate and move higher. Like we've seen many, many times before, it's the same pattern. It's the psychology of the market. The next thing is we could see the market basically go sideways and start to break down, and you'll know because the support levels will be broken and then retested. As you can see right here in December, they jumped back up late November and then got rejected again and rejected again. The last couple of days, COTI has moved higher. So this is just a project on ADA. So you can check this out. The levels I see above as resistance are around these highs. So around that 43, 45 cents. And then of course around the 50 cents where the market basically broke down from. The major ones are going to be where these tops are, sitting around that 69, 70 cent level. Now the other project is Giro Wallet. This has absolutely pumped. This is against Ether price, remember? But Ether has been pretty steady. You can see the last couple of days absolutely pumped from this point. But don't forget, zooming out, this thing has been crushed, absolutely crushed since the May tops, or when the market crashed in May. And you can see the market just tank, and a few pumps happen and we continue to tank. So just keep an eye out for any of these ADA projects. If they get on these big news pumps and then you see the market pull back and then doesn't really follow through, you want to see a market follow through and actually get some higher lows start to form and a nice steady gain so that you can see it be a consistent climber. If you get these pumps, generally you can see this happen, or it's already on the chart. Big pumps followed by big dumps, more big pumps, a dump and a pump and a long, long dump. Now, hopefully for the holders that this has finished accumulating and will start to climb, but I'm just saying be wary. Keep your alerts in there. As you can see my alerts here, if we start to break down beneath the lows, it was probably a news pump. Now, if you like the vision of Cardano on this channel, not blowing the hopium up your a-hole, check out the link down below and support the staking pool for ADA. The links are all there. Plus, there's a video at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Before we do, hit that like, get us to 12%, subscribe, bell notification icon. See you at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.